Today we are presenting our financial accounting assignment in which we compare two companies based on various financial ratios. The two companies which we have taken are Sime Darby and IOI Corporation.
Before we start our presentation, we are going to introduce to you our team members, which are Brother Azman, me, myself, Nurin, and Sister Samya. So after this, we're going to talk about a little bit on the company's background. IOI Corporation Berhad, commonly referred to as IOI, was incorporated on 31st October 1969 as Industrial Oxygen Incorporated Sendirian Berhad. IOI is one of Malaysia's biggest conglomerates. It ventured into property development in 1984, followed by oil palm plantations and refineries in 1985. IOI was listed on the KLSE, now known as Bursa Malaysia, in 1980.
From humble beginnings, founded on an unfailing belief in a single commodity, IOI's oil palm plantation business is the heart of our company. With over 230,000 hectares of planted area in Malaysia and Indonesia and still growing, we are one of the largest plantation companies in the country. IOI has grown into a global enterprise with operations in 7 countries, exporting to more than 85 countries worldwide. As a founding member of the Roundtable on Sustainable Palm Oil, IOI leads the way in adhering to the highest standards for sustainable palm oil production and in promoting the use of sustainable palm oil around the world. We also strive to build a reliable and traceable palm oil supply chain for the benefit of our customers across the globe. Our consistent efforts in sustainability and good management practices have been well recognized in the industry and accorded many prestigious accolades. While we have made great strides in growing our business in a sustainable and responsible way, we believe in continuing and increasing our efforts towards excellence in everything we do. We strive for a future where IOI steadily expands its reach and increases its value add. A future where we continue to be a crucial presence in the daily lives of people around the world. Fulfilling our purpose for leadership and excellence, we intend to conquer new horizons and forge a better and brighter future for our group.
These gentlemen traveled far across the continents to arrive in a place known as the Far East. In 1910, they set up a company that till today stands strong and sound. This company is Sime Darby, and this is our story.
Sime Darby Berhad is a major Malaysia-based multinational conglomerate involved in 5 core sectors: plantations, property, industrial, motors, and logistics. Sime Darby is listed on the main board of Bursa Malaysia Securities Berhad. In October 1910, British businessmen William Sime and Henry Darby established Sime Darby & Co., a fledgling player in the lucrative rubber industry. The company later diversified to cultivating palm oil and cocoa and met with enormous success.
With more than 100 years behind us, Sime Darby is firmly established in the plantation, property, industrial, motors, energy and utilities in more than 20 countries. Together, we are driven by the same goal and vision. Together, we move forward. Sime Darby, developing sustainable futures.
Of share price performance over the period 2015 to 2017, IOI have been comparatively stable than Sime Darby.
For IOI Group, this is the statement of profit and loss. As financial year for IOI ends on June, so the data is for 30th June 2016. This is the SOKI of IOI. This is the statement of financial position for the same company, IOI. This is the continued part. And this is the statement of cash flows. This is also the continued part. That's all. Thank you. Sime Darby's share price performance over the year 2015 to 2017. So in terms of share price performance over this period, we can see that Sime Darby hasn't been consistent, as we can see a huge dip in the middle period, which shows inconsistency in the share price.
For the Sime Darby, as you can see, this is the statement of profit and loss. So this is the statements of comprehensive income over 2015 and 2016 for two group and company. But then we take the data from the group only. And then this is the statements of cash and flows. It is the financial year ended at 30 June 2016. And this is the statements, the continuous one, continued from previous slide. And this is the statements of financial positions for Sime Darby. We're going to compare both companies based on these ratios. First one is liquidity ratios, leverage ratios, and profitability ratios. Look at the financial ratios analysis. First, the liquidity ratios. This is the definitions on the liquidity ratios. As you can see, liquidity ratios demonstrate a company's ability to pay its current obligations. In other words, they relate to the availability of cash and other assets to cover accounts payable, short-term debt, and other liabilities. So here are the analysis. Though both companies have showed improvement in the liquidity ratio, Sime Darby is consistently more liquid than IOI, and evident from higher current and quick ratio.
For liquidity ratio, both the companies have showed improvement over the year. Now you can see there is the analysis of 2016 and this is 2015. So if you compare the analysis of 2016 and 2015, you can see that both the companies have done better performances. Now let's discuss the second financial ratio, that is the leverage ratio. The leverage ratio look at the extent to which a company has depended upon borrowing to finance its operations. As a result, these ratios are viewed closely by bankers and investors. Most leverage ratios compare assets or net worth with liabilities. A high leverage ratio may increase a company's exposure to risk and business downturns, but along with this higher risk also comes the potential for higher returns. So let's have a look at the leverage ratio of both the companies over the years. Now you can see as on leverage ratio, Sime Darby has much more stronger ratios as compared to the IOI. Although in absolute terms their liabilities are higher, but it is balanced by a huge asset base and higher shareholder equity, which we'll discuss in the financial position.
Last but not least is the profitability ratios. The profitability ratios focus on the firm's ability to generate profit and adequate return on assets and equity. They measure how efficiently the firm uses its assets and how effectively it manages its operations. So next, let's look at the analysis. For the profit analysis, Darby shows much better margin, much more double than of IOI, as seen in 2016. And next, the main contribution for the ST earnings is its profit development, which is always a high margin sector.
In order to obtain the current ratio, we divide current assets by the current liabilities. Therefore, when we divide the total current assets by total current liabilities, we obtain current ratio. Now, in order to obtain the quick ratio, firstly we subtract the inventory from the total current assets, and then we divide the whole amount by the total current liabilities. Now, in the profitability ratio, the first one is the profit margin. In order to obtain the profit margin, we simply divide the net income by the net sales. In the profitability ratio, the other parameter is return on asset. To obtain the return on asset, we simply divide the net income by total asset. The last parameter in profitability ratio is return on equity. In order to obtain return on equity, we just divide the net income by the shareholders' equity. The amount which we get on dividing net income by shareholders' equity is called return on equity. Now, in the leverage ratio, we have three parameters. The first one is debt to asset, the second is debt to equity, and the third one is interest coverage. So in the debt to asset, we simply divide the total debt the company has by the total asset the company owns. Now, the second parameter is debt to equity. In order to obtain the debt to equity, we simply divide the total debt the company has by the total equity the company owns. The last ratio is the interest coverage. The interest coverage is basically obtained by dividing the EBIT by the interest charge. This will give us the interest coverage of the company.
In order to compute different ratios, first we need to find the parameters. The parameters were given in the statement of comprehensive incomes, statement of financial position, and cash flows. For this analysis, we only take the data from 2015 and 2016 only. Later on, we will compare both companies based on the calculated ratios. In the statement of financial position, we can find parameters such as current assets, current liabilities, inventory, cash, marketable securities, total assets, shareholder equities, and both short-term and long-term liabilities. For cash flows, we can find depreciation parameters, and for profit and loss, we can find net income and net sales parameters. These are the tabulated data for each parameters from different sources.
Has been slightly volatile in the past few years, Sime Darby still shows consistent earnings performance and dividend payout. It has a strong asset base to meet its short and long-term commitments, and shareholders' confidence remains consistent.